Next, we have a clip on Biztech Asian Midday Market Watch, a discussion between host Brian Fernandez with guest Lee Kian Soon, CEO of Astro Asset Management Singapore, a conversation of insights on regional markets performance as well as talks about regional markets performance. Let's take a look.
I want to talk about the currency market wild swings here. So we've got a wild swing, for example, on the pound, which is literally down 5%. Walk us through some of the key currencies that have experienced significant changes in value.
I think, again, the Fed has outlined a very hawkish projection, and in terms of interest rates hikes. As a result, you see the strengthening of the US dollar. And a lot of the central banks, developed nations, emerging markets are just playing catch up because nobody has as aggressive, highlighted, their interest rates hikes as much as the Fed. You see that in a lot of the developed nations' currencies, and as a result, you could see that, as the US dollar strengthened, the other currencies have started to weaken. For the pound, it's something else, right? Amidst all this, market mayhem and turmoil, they announced a sudden budget, a mini budget, which, would enable them to have significant tax cuts, and that sent the pound, tumbling down as traders were not confident that, such a fiscal policy is actually the, in terms of best timing and also as well as in terms of execution, because United Kingdom is in a significant amount of debts, and they were wondering how, the market is wondering how the government is going to finance these debts with such a massive tax reductions.
So I want to talk about policy divergence with regard to currencies, and two countries stick out: China and Japan. Now, the yuan today is at its weakest in over 20 years. What are your thoughts on this, and do you see this policy stance weakening as perhaps their currencies weaken against the dollar?
I think the yuan is under immense pressure for a couple of reasons. First is, if you look at the interest rates of China, instead of hiking its interest rate, it's very likely, given its economic situation, China will continue to have certain form of interest rate reduction, or at least keep it consistent. As a result, the currency faces a lot of pressure versus the US dollar. Secondly, the economy is displaying a significant slowdown, as we have seen from the facts and figures. And once you have economic slowdown, the import-exports numbers are coming down, you will expect yuan to face even more pressure going forward. I think what is interesting is what has the Chinese government done. And so far, I think they have done things more on the peripheral, i.e. Apart from propping up the currencies, they have also made it very difficult for traders to short the currencies. And this is possible because yuan is not exactly an open market, and they have actually tried to slow down the shorting of the yuan in order to cushion this slide. Japan is in a different situation, whereby it always has been an zero interest rate environment, or near zero, and the central banks have indicated that they will not increase interest rates at least for the near future, and this creates intense pressure on the currency because as what we have discussed, the US dollar is rallying, and the pressure on the Japanese yen is also very strong. And it's a challenging situation because I don't think Japan's economy could withstand any increase in interest rates. That would basically send its economy into a tailspin downhill.
Now, then, Kian Soon, what's left for Asian investors to do? What do we do with our money now?
I think it's interesting, and I got asked these questions many times, especially when times are not doing, great for, most asset classes. It's interesting, and my usual answer is, as an investors, Asian investors, you should be properly diversified. You should look at other asset classes. The bond markets as well as money markets are beginning to look interesting.